2023 was the year when I personally started to think that the world was going downhill. A new war began in the Middle East involving one of America's closest allies, Israel. We also had the OceanGate incident, where if anything is to be learned from that situation, it's that you shouldn't get into a submarine piloted by a game controller. However, out of everything that happened during the year, we had an album by one of the biggest name producers with an even bigger controversy overshadowing it. So it's your narrators in, and let's get into this. To start off, when you think of some big name albums that came out during that year, what comes to mind? Utopia by Travis Scott might be something you think of, or if your music taste is like mine, you might think of Scaring the Hoes by JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. However, there was one album that never quite received the same level of attention as the others, despite the big names associated with it, and that album is called the Love Album Off the Grid by the one and only Diddy. Now you may think, okay Zen, he released an album, what's so special about that? And to that I would reply that beforehand, it was very much hyped up as the album to listen to. If you're to listen to some interviews that he did, he claimed that The Weeknd wasn't going to collaborate on other people's songs after this. Which, who knows, if the allegations didn't come up, he might have tried some scare tactics that Kid Cudi is very much familiar with to make that a reality. Aside from that, however, the album also features some notable names, including Mary J. Blige and Justin Bieber. But what really made it overlooked, despite all the hype and the big names around it, and was also the reason why it didn't get much press attention, was the allegations of sexual and physical abuse, alongside many other allegations by his ex Cassie that came 2 months after the release. While I won't cover the story in this video, I'd be remiss not to mention the main reason why the album was overlooked, especially given that the allegations should not be taken lightly. But to preface this, I'm not a music reviewer. I'm no Anthony Fantano, so take what I say with a heavy grain of salt. While working on the script for this video, I was listening to the entire album again. The first 9 tracks, which I refer to as the introduction, make a good opener, though they aren't the best. However, my personal favorite from the introduction tracks is What's Love. It really lets the vocals shine, and I found myself vibing to it, like actually bobbing my head a little bit. The middle half is okay, nothing special. Still, one song stands out from the rest in both production and vocals, and the plays really reflect that same sentiment in the track Moments, with the vocals being the person all the guys hated back in the 2010s, Justin Bieber. Now, if Justin Bieber watches this, I want to say, forgive me for the hatred I had in my heart as a child. You were standing on business on this track. I have no words except that this is a very beautiful track, very wonderful. Give the track a listen to if you have a music taste like mine, or even if you don't, just give it a listen to and see if you like it. An honorable mention for the mid part of the album is Stay Part 1. It's a banger. However, for the final 9 tracks, I didn't find myself as interested as much, except for the final track of the original album, Space. The production is unique and the vocals are generally good. However, it would have been even better if Diddy wasn't whispering, "Yeah, right there," or "Baby, don't stop" at the end of the track. An honorable mention would be Mary J. Blige's track, I Like. So after listening to the entire album, was this really an overlooked gem? Hell no. Aside from the few standout tracks with the vocals and production on point, it's not an album I think many ears would find appealing. In my opinion though, the tracks on the album I mentioned, and possibly 1 or 2 more, do deserve more ears listening to them. Now ideally you wouldn't stream it, not to give money to the man who allegedly dragged the woman across a hotel floor, and also try to firebomb Kid Cudi's car. But that's why alternate means exist. In short, if you put a gun to my head and said, listen to this album without skipping a song, I would say just don't me, man. Because aside from a few standout tracks, it's mostly average, below average R&B songs that are skippable, honestly just skippable. But before you go, please consider subscribing, or at the very least liking my video if you enjoyed it. I plan to create more content as time goes on, and your support is greatly appreciated.